Hi guys, I went out with a friend yesterday to the Sauk River area and the Stillaguamish area and collected a few samples when we were jade prospecting. This is probably my best prospect for jade. It actually has some decent translucency. So this has actually a specific gravity of right at 3. So I think it's going to be a good choice. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and cut where this fracture is on the end piece and see if I can just freeform a cab, and let's see what this piece of jade looks like as a finished piece. Okay, so this is what the end piece looks like in general shape. I've roughed it out. I've just marked a 2.5 millimeter beveled edge, so I will start refining the ends of this, and there's a small crack. So, you know, that's the whole thing with polishing jade, is that, you know, you eventually will end up seeing these small cracks show up, and of course it's an end piece. So I might try and take off a little bit of the dome and see if I can get below these cracks before I start polishing. All right, see you guys soon. All right, so I've got this dopped up, and for the most part, it's got the shape I want. So with jade, I've found that I get the most effective polish using wet, dry sandpaper. So I've got a series of small and large that I've just adapted to my high-tech diamond flat lap that I'll be using to polish this up. All right, let's go. Alright, so I'm on 1000 grit sandpaper, and this is where I switch over to completely dry. And as you can see, the fractures become more and more evident. Like I said, as you polish, that's just the nature of jade, unless you can get like a perfect piece that doesn't fracture like that. Oh, and I might also mention that, you know, when you go to dry grit, this is amphibole. When you get to nephrite jade, this becomes very characteristic of asbestos dust as you grind it. So best to put a respirator on. Okay guys, so here is the finished capuchon using the stone that I found off one of the creeks near the Sauk River in Northwest Washington State. This probably wasn't the best translucency, but I like to make cabochons from each of the locations that I hunt for jade. So as you can see, you know, it's decent translucency. Had a lot of fractures, and so this was basically off of the half of the end piece. I just wanted to take the easy route and see what the finished product would look like. So you can tell that the translucency is different on different sections of the jade, and that is because of the chlorite inclusions. So you see this little black here, there's a little black spot actually in the middle, which indicates a higher percentage of chlorite that's in that section versus the translucency on the ends. Also, the fractures are internal, so you really can't feel these fractures, and that is because of the tremolite that makes nephrite jade. The tremolite actually are these interwoven fibers that give you internal fractures like that. So that is the nature of jade hunting in Washington State. You know, you're always on the chase for the perfect piece of jade that has great translucency, not a lot of inclusions. Sometimes you want inclusions, but I don't. And then one that doesn't have a lot of fractures in it. So that's the chase. But for the most part, I just wanted to show off this piece that I made using my dry polishing process. It's some wet, but mostly dry when it comes to the polishing side. So that is a little bit of a change for me as opposed to agates, where I use a lot of my just water drip and resin pads on my high-tech diamond flat lap. So I did have to change the process with jade. It is a different animal to polish, but hope you guys liked it. Thanks for watching.